Hi, and welcome to this Everlea Group presentation. This is a sales overview covering off the Fanvil PA2s gateway's capabilities. The presentation will give you an overview of the sales applications, as well as how you can use the PA2 for your customers' needs. Fanvil described the PA2s as a multi-role SIP gateway device. But that description does not do it justice. The PA2s can do audio and video intercoms, integration to private or public announcement systems, industrial monitoring of local or remote plant and machinery, central emergency alerting, NVR compatible with PA2 kit camera option, multicast options, gate control, and a whole lot more. The Fanvil PA2s is a very adaptable unit. We call it the Swiss Army knife of the Fanvil product range. This image shows the rear panel layout of the Fanvil PA2s device. The PA2 is housed in a compact and robust aluminium case. Its dimensions are 113 by 83 by 28 mm. Each terminal or connection provides its own specific function as indicated. The PA2 comes complete with the terminal blocks and a small screwdriver to connect your cabling to. In many cases you would only use 2 to 3 of these connections. This would depend on what you are trying to achieve on your site. In this slide we can see the front panel layout of the PA2s device. All connections and controls are indicated, but I would like to draw your attention to a couple of points. The WAN connection of the PA2 is connected to the customer's network. This WAN port is a PoE port, Power over Ethernet. This means if your customer is using a PoE switch, then the network can power the PA2. If the customer does not have a PoE switch, a power pack that can be ordered from Everlea Group is available. Also, please note, if you are wanting to use an analog speaker or bullhorn, and want maximum volume, we recommend to use the optional power pack for the PA2. So with all the different connections on the PA2, we can connect various devices, networks, trigger points and event actions. You can use one or multiple PA2 units together, taking advantage of their physical connectivity, VoIP connectivity, and multicast connectivity. So now let's run through a few scenarios you could use the PA2 in. The first area we are going to look at is paging. When looking at paging with the PA2, please note it can be a small part of a bigger solution. All of the Fanvil IP phones, IP door phones and intercoms etc. can generally send and receive multicasting and be used as part of the customer solution. Fanvil also has devices such as the PA2s, the PA3 and the Fanvil A320i. Fanvil also integrate with other brands in the market. Please contact the team at Everlea Group to discuss. In our first paging example we have a customer replacing their existing phone system with a new on-premise IP phone system. But the customer has an existing paging system and they want the new phone system to connect to it. The existing paging system has an analog amplifier and existing analog speakers. In this case, the Fanvil PA2 will act as an interface between the new phone system and the existing paging amplifier. The PA2 will convert the IP signaling to audio input for the existing analog amplifier. Just an extra note. Most new IP phone systems have the ability to send out multicast paging. The Fanvil PA2 will receive this multicast page and convert it to an audio output the amplifier can use. This allows the option of enabling paging through the existing paging system, and any of the new IP phones, IP speakers or IP intercoms you install. If you have any questions on this setup, please contact the team at Everlea Group Limited. In our next paging example, we have a customer that needs to have a paging solution but the IP phone system has no paging capability. But like our previous example, the customer still needs access to the paging amplifier. The existing paging system has an analog amplifier and existing analog speakers. Again, in this case the Fanvil PA2 will act as an interface between the multicast paging and the existing paging amplifier. But instead of using the IP phone system as the controller of the paging, we would use the IP desk phone's BLF buttons to send a multicast across the network. The PA2 will convert the multicast signaling to audio input for the existing analog amplifier. The Fanvil IP desk phones can all have BLF keys to do a multicast page. If you require multicast groups, you can assign extra BLF keys on each phone. Just a few extra notes. Each multicast paging group requires a BLF key to transmit. If you need 3 paging groups, you would use 3 BLF keys. If you don't want your IP phone to have paging access, don't give the user's phone a BLF key with paging. On this example slide, we are using Fanvil XU4 Series 2 IP phones. If you have any questions on this setup, please contact the team at Everlea Group Limited. In our next paging example, we have a customer that is moving to a cloud PBX solution. The customer has an existing analog paging solution and still wants to use it via the new IP desk phones. There are 2 different ways we can deploy a Fanvil PA2 to work with the cloud IP PBX system. The choice on what option you will use will depend on if all the new IP desk phones and the PA2 are on a single site or across multiple sites. Let's have a look at what we could do. Option 1. The customer site is a single office warehouse site that is serviced with a cloud PBX. The IP phones and PA2 are on the same LAN network on the site. With this option, we can use multicasting to manage the paging because all the phones and the PA2 are on the same internal LAN network. Because of this, we could use the previous method of using IP desk phone BLF buttons to send a multicast across the LAN network. The PA2 will act as a receiver interface between the network multicast paging and the existing paging amplifier. A couple of points to note. We can use the multicast if the customer's phones and PA2 are on the same site and same LAN network. The above option will work well, but if the phones and PA2 are on different sites and locations or are not on the same LAN network, then option 1 above will not work. If you have a site where you have a remote amplifier, we need to look at the next slide for using a VoIP registration option. So let's look at option 2 for the cloud service. Just to confirm, we have a cloud phone system that our customer is using. In this example, our customer has a retail and sales site that they have open to the public. They also have a second location running the warehouse dispatch and pickup operation. The existing paging system has an analog amplifier and existing analog speakers. It is in the warehouse location. In this case, the Fanvil PA2 will act as an interface by using a SIP registration from the cloud system to allow access to the existing paging amplifier. The use of the above SIP extension enables the paging amplifier to be used simply by dialing the SIP extension number of the PA2. The PA2 will answer the call and broadcast across the paging system. If you have any questions on this setup, please contact the team at Everlea Group Limited. This next section covers off a few options the PA2s can do with its input sensor. The Fanvil PA2s has 3 physical contacts that can be used to do various functions. As there are so many variations the PA2 could be used for, I will just be giving you a basic overview of how you could use it in your sales. There are 3 separate trigger inputs on a single Fanvil PA2. These are 2 push-button inputs and 1 sensor input. The sensor input will trigger the PA2's local speaker output port. The file that can be played is a WAV file, so can be any audio requirement. The button inputs can trigger calls or can broadcast audio files on common or separate multicast groups. The Fanvil PA2s allows various options depending on how it is configured. It can call a number, activate a local speaker, broadcast alarm, triggers multicast to multiple speakers, send a SMS or call multiple numbers at the same time. In some types of commercial buildings, there are a number of exit doors that are only used in an emergency exit situation. But if someone opens a door when there is no fire or emergency, anyone could exit or gain access to the building without any of the staff knowing. Using the trigger input on the PA2, you can set it up to alert staff the door has been opened. When the door alert is triggered, you can have an audible alarm broadcast on a local speaker, or at the same time the PA2 will call multiple numbers to key staff. Another application for the PA2 trigger is in manufacturing rooms or clean areas. If staff have to wear special clean suits or protection equipment before they enter a restricted area, the PA2 can be set up with a PIR sensor. This would detect anyone who is about to enter the area and play a custom audio file on a local speaker, reminding the staff member of the precautions or equipment they should have. The PA2 trigger function can be used in various situations. With hospitals, doctor surgeries and medical centers, there are times where you need to alert visitors of a current situation or event. For example, if there is an outbreak and the visitor has certain symptoms occurring, you can direct them not to enter the main public entrance, and give instructions diverting them to a separate isolated area. This allows people with possible infectious issues to be moved away from general medical issues like a child with a broken leg. As you have seen, the trigger function on the PA2 can be deployed in various situations. By adding an audible alert or alarm, it can reinforce the message of health and safety for staff and visitors. Did you know the PA2s is a fully functional VoIP phone? The Fanvil PA2s has an optional PA2 kit. The PA2 kit contains a camera, speaker, microphone, push button and LED. These options turn the PA2s into a fully functional VoIP audio and video phone. This phone is designed so you can install it into custom casings or use an original faceplate or phone box from an existing intercom. This is an advantage if the customer has a custom faceplate made for a door, plaza entry gate, or lift phone. The PA2 and PA2 kit can be used as a SIP phone and installed into any housing or enclosure. In this example, we show an emergency point for public or campus students to call for help or assistance. Using the PA2 as a gate phone. Using the PA2, a call from a gate can be answered locally or remotely. It can trigger the gate to open and support video calls, and can connect to a network video recorder. Using the PA2 as a gate phone. Using the PA2, a call from a gate can be answered locally or remotely. It can trigger the gate to open and support video calls, and can connect to a network video recorder. The Fanvil PA2s can be used as a loud bell. When upgrading to a VoIP system, the older style bells cannot integrate with the new SIP technology. The following details the options with the PA2. In this example, a hunt group is used on the IPBX or cloud server. By adding the extension phones and the PA2 into the hunt group, you can have multiple devices ringing for incoming calls. Using the Fanvil PA2 with passive speaker or bullhorn allows you to resolve the issue of a phone call not being heard ringing in noisy environments such as warehouses, logistics centers and manufacturing. If the cloud server or local IPBX allows multiple registrations on a single SIP extension, you can install a PA2 with a horn speaker that rings at the same time as the IP phone on that same registration. Personally, this would be the more ideal method, but it would depend on the IP server and IPBX capabilities. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for the time you spent with us. If you have any questions regarding the Fanvil products, please contact us via phone, email, or via our website. Please also take the time to click the like button if you found this presentation helpful. Click subscribe to receive future notices of other presentations.